Hey guys, and welcome back to the HH Gaming YouTube channel. Today we're going to be covering a topic that is really relevant for this week's patch. On Friday we should be expecting to see Doom Tower Rotation 3 coming out, which will include 2 new bosses. And the main one that we're focused on for this video is Bommel the Lava Beast, where with the first time in years, we're going to have content where we actually might need to use bombs. Now if you're a new player to the game, or you've been playing for about 6 months, you've probably never used a bomb champion in any content because there's really no need for it. In PvE, generally they don't do enough damage, and in PvP, the same issue. Either they can be cleansed or they just don't do enough damage, meaning you're far better off just taking a pure damage dealer. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to break down from a mathematical point of view exactly how you do damage with bombs, how they're coded, and then hopefully by the end of the video you should have a greater understanding about how you would apply the bomb usage. So let's just do a quick overview about what bombs are. Bomb is a debuff that very few champions can apply in the game, and the in-game description basically has this as: when this debuff expires, the affected champion suffers direct damage, and we'll go into detail what that actually means. That ignores their defense value, and then it states that the damage inflicted by the bomb scales per the stat indicated in the skill description. Now, that's a pretty vague understanding. Obviously, ignores defense is pretty straightforward, but what does it mean by direct damage, and what does it mean by skill, the stat in the skill description? So let's just go through what bombs do. So, what bombs can do. Bombs can be increased by the increased attack buff. Pretty much every champion in the game, I think so far, deals damage based on attack. Therefore, increased attack, that works fine. Bombs will also ignore all defense. So you can't, as a defensive champion, counter bombs by effectively stacking your defense. It has no relevance. It will do raw damage effectively. It also ignores any ally protection buffs that you have out, so you can't split the damage. And it will also ignore any defensive buffs and effects you have in the game. So Geomancer's passive will not work. Strengthen will not work. And we'll go through the test in a minute so you can see that this is actually the case. Now what bombs can't do is bombs cannot critically hit. That basically means the only stats that are relevant is the primary stat, which in most cases is attack. And if in some situations critical hit is required for the champion to enable the bombs, as we'll see in the example that I'm using. They also cannot ignore block damage or unkillable. So you can outlive the bomb by having unkillable. You can't, bombs damage themselves won't be increased by the weaken debuff. And we're going to test this, but I'm 100% certain almost that masteries that you set in your champion's configuration also will not increase the damage. And finally, the skill tome damage that you see on champion skills, that also doesn't increase damage. I'd imagine in the future if they ever released a change where it would be bomb plus 10%, then that would, like we see with heal and shield plus 10%, plus 5%. But right now the bombs only the damage skill terms only apply to the damage the skill does, not the bombs themselves. So that's a bit of an overview of what they do. Let's now break it down into some math. So what I've got here is a list of all the skill effects that can apply the bomb debuff. As you can see, there's not many at all. There's about 14, 13. Some of these will be one champion that applies 2 effects, like Soul Drinker or War Mother, where she does different multipliers based on whether it's a boss or not. But the key thing that I wanted to point out here is that bomb debuffs have a default multiplier of 5 times attack. So if you're facing an opponent where there isn't a custom multiplier on this skill that applies to bomb, it will always revert back to this 5 times attack. Now we don't know if that's the case with Bommel until we see the data, but it's either going to be 5 times attack or whatever his custom multiplier is on that A2 that can apply the bombs. Now when we look at the examples here, we can see that some of the champions in the game have custom multipliers. In some respects, some of them weaken the bomb damage by choosing a lower multiplier. In other cases where War Mother attacks the boss, she increases the bomb damage. And then, of course, Malbranch, Tree Feller, Grunch, Talia, those effects will default back to the 5 times because it's they don't have a custom multiplier. So what does that mean then? So we know that the damage ignores defense. We know that it cannot be affected by any of the stats. So the math here is quite straightforward. It'll always be the multiplier times the attack value. So for example, if I've got a champion like Lord Shazar, which is what we'll be testing on, it's a 3.2 multiplier for the bomb, and then the attack will be say like we have an attack value of 332, 3.4, that means that the bomb should then deal 10,635 damage. Doesn't matter what the enemy is, how much HP it has, defense, doesn't matter, it's always going to do that value. So let's get some testing done in the game. So I've got my Lord Shazar set up here. I've got him in just basic gear. We've got him at around about 3,323 attack and 100% crit rate. Now, I did mention before that the bombs can't crit. However, as with everything in the game, you need to look at the conditions that make it possible. And we know with Lord Shazar here, his bomb detonation is reduced by 1 turn if he critically hits. So he'll apply it for 2 turns, reduce it by 1 if he crits, which means that the next time the champion takes a turn, the bomb will go off. So that's kind of important that the Shazar has the crit rate. In other situations, you might not need it, such as War Mother. I'm not sure if War Mother has other conditions where she reduces the cooldown by critically hitting, but that's always thing to check on your champions to make sure there aren't a secondary condition that requires the effect to work. Now, my Shazar is partially booked here, so I've got a 10% damage to him. I'm not expecting that to affect anything. And right now, we haven't put anything other than 5% crit rate. I've got some Mastery Scrolls here, so I'm going to test by applying Heart of Glory that Masteries don't work. And we're just going to run this in a Doom Tower floor, nothing special. So let's run the first one here. Let's just pick Doom Tower floor 1, and we'll just take that out and we'll put Shazar in first. We're in normal, so it's quite easy content. Now, if you remember, I said the previous math was 3.2 times 3323, which was my my Shazar's attack. So we should be seeing 10,635 damage. So let's just do a run here quickly. So I'm not going to use his A3 for increased attack. All I'm going to do is I'm going to apply bombs, and we'll see. And I've slowed it down here, so we should see the bombs go off 10,635, and you can see it's the same for every single one. And obviously it's a bit faster here, so we'll just run. We'll run this here. And there you go. So yes, bombs apply the fixed number. Now let's do that again, but let's use an increased attack buff. Now we know that it's based on attack, therefore if I increase my attack, I should get 50% more bomb damage naturally, which should take it from 10,600 to about 15,000, 16,000. Quick rough maths. So we'll apply it again. 15,000, there we go. So increased attack, 100% works. Brilliant. Now let's test it against some defensive multipliers. So let's go over to floor 6. Now floor 6 starts with a Surga and a Whirlim, so this is a good place for us to test some defensive multipliers. So let's get this in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, again, I'm just going to apply bombs. Now Asuga will apply her ally protection by default, which should mean that she has ally protection up and she puts strengthen on herself. So the test here is, are we going to see different numbers? So we throw it out here, so the bombs go off. 10,000, so she's going to apply that now. So there you go, ally protection isn't having an effect here. Now obviously Asuga went before strengthen is up, so we could run this again. We could just basically make a delayed turn and just survive the first hit. So if we just put this here, just do a quick auto speed this up, let her do that skill. So we'll get a wild surge. Right, let's apply some bombs then. So we'll see whether or not strengthen has any impact. So we know ally protection doesn't make a difference here. Now interestingly there, that was something we didn't see before. Asuga was taking some damage. Now that could just be from the critically hit. We're just going to rerun that again just to make sure. So we're going to wait a turn, speed it up just while we do this. It's always good to test things twice. Right, now we're going to apply bombs again. And we just want to see what the damage goes on the Asuga. Yeah, so that was just... Oh, she is taking some damage there. So, a bit of a brief interlude, just through doing a bit of live testing there. It does look like something weird is going on with ally protection. We're trying to figure out exactly what is going on. But just to show you as an example here, we already knew that the raw base damage was 10,635 based on my Shazar. But for some unknown reason at this current time, the ally protector seems to be taking some form of damage when a bomb debuff. Now what we'll notice is it doesn't seem to be affecting the actual champion receiving the bombs. So this is by no means me saying use ally protection. It would be really bad. You would be effectively taking more damage than you need to. We're going to drill into this and see if we can figure out exactly what's causing it. It seems to be a bug for sure, but currently, conclusion there, ally protection doesn't reduce the damage, but it does increase the damage your protector is taking. So that was just a side note. So getting back on track, what have we covered so far? Increased attack definitely increases the damage your bombs will do. Strengthen doesn't change the damage your enemies will take if they're under bomb debuffs. Neither does ally protection reduce the damage. Neither does any other form of damage mitigation buff that they have on that side. Let's do a quick test now on weaken and see if that makes a difference. So I've got Rian the Conjurer set up in this team. Rian the Conjurer is the 3rd Doom Tower epic, and on her A2 she's going to place weaken. So let's see if that has an impact on the damage the bombs do. We've said already that it shouldn't. Let's just test it, seeing as though everything else today is going a little bit off. So we've got weaken placed. I'm going to place this and we'll see what happens here. So 10,635, 10,635. Interestingly enough there, the ally protector took more damage than we were seeing before. So something weird is definitely going on with an ally protector and bombs. We need to drill down on that, and that might be a topic for the next video, just to see what the conclusions are for that. So what have we covered? Defensive buffs don't seem to impact the damage whatsoever. We can see this now if I just run a quick A1. The increased defense buff on this Whirling will still result in 10,635. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So defensive buffs don't reduce the bomb damage. Offensive debuffs, such as weaken, don't increase the bomb damage. Now let's just do our final test, which we were going to look at masteries. Now if masteries were impacting bombs, I would pick Heart of Glory here, as we'll be placing the bombs when at full health. So I'm just going to do crit damage here. Obviously crit damage doesn't affect the bombs, and we'll be doing Heart of Glory. So we should be now doing 5% more damage when at full health. And all I'm going to do to guarantee this is I'm just going to run it on Doom Tower Floor 1 again with just Shazar. So we're going to test this on 1 speed, and we're going to throw out the bombs, and let's see what happens. 10,635 as expected. Now let's just out of curiosity see what happens if we run it on floor 6 with an ally protector, as that seems to be a little bit all over the place. So we're going to run that with, we didn't need to run Rian the Conjurer, to be honest. We'll just throw that out there, and then we will apply the bombs. So let's just see what Isuga takes now when she ally protects. I think it was the same value still. Yeah, it was still the same value, so clearly masteries are not having an impact there. But when we've seen the increased defense buff, that has changed the number, so we need to drill down. So just to confirm there, masteries don't increase the bomb damage. So really, how do we go about using bombs then in Raid for this content? Attack is obviously very important. Any other conditional based effects that require the bombs to go off, you should always consider, like Shazani's crit rate for the bomb durations. But it's purely based on attack. Increased attack buff will increase the damage. If it's not Shazar and you need to bring that, definitely. Ignores defense, ignores all those other values. And as I said, I think we'll do a bit of testing on that ally protection and figure out what the hell is going on there. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into how the math of bombs work. I know that Hell Hades, the main man himself, will probably be doing a video on bomb champions in greater detail. So look out for that in the next couple of weeks or so. And yeah, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any comments, please leave them below. As always, give this video a thumbs up, and we'll catch you in the next video.